nature is always teaching us lessons. And here is a great lesson that we're picking up from our first session. And this is the lesson of the bamboo tree.
Once upon a time. Haven't you learned some of your best lessons once upon a time? Once upon a time, two pandas were walking through a bamboo forest. One of the pandas, let's call him Darren, was always in a rush to get to the next great thing. The other panda would always remind Darren, be present. Take a deep breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Smell the trees. Nature is a great teacher. Do you know the lesson of the Chinese bamboo tree? The Chinese bamboo tree, we'll start with a little seedling, we'll put it in the ground, we'll give it fertile soil, enough sunshine, and lots of water. We'll have to nurture it every day. We need to do that for a year. Water, nurture, lots of sunlight. And after a year, what are we gonna see? Nothing. Let's continue for the second year. Daily nurturing, watering, fertile soil, sunshine. After year 2, what are we gonna see from the ground? Nothing. Continue, year 3, and another year, year 4. Finally, after year 5, we're gonna start to see a little itty bitty seedling. After 6 weeks, that little itty bitty seedling is gonna grow to over 100 feet tall. And I was asked this question, how long, Darren, did it take for the bamboo tree to grow? My first answer was, I know, 6 weeks. No, Darren, it took 5 years of consistent, daily nurturing to grow a strong foundation and deep, strong roots. So let's take a lesson from these trees around us. Right now, I want you to join me. I want you to stand up nice and tall. And let's be flexible like these trees to sway in the wind. Stand up nice and tall. Let's bring one hand above the other and let's gently sway to one side. Let's put that hand down, other hand right above the head, and let's gently sway to the other side. Nature can teach us a lot. Flexibility, patience, persistence. And the other thing is that sometimes we're not going to see the results overnight.
Another great lesson we learned from nature and the importance of patience. But it's amazing that over the last 20 years, the amount of research that's gone into the health benefits of being out in nature. But not only that, but last year, a study of 20,000 people actually identified 2 hours, 120 minutes, either all at once or in separate doses, leads to better reported health outcomes. So now, Dr. Lodi, we actually have a prescription to getting back into nature. And it seems kind of funny to me that we think we're so evolved, but yet now we need a prescription to tell us to get back to where we came from.
Yeah. What you had, and what you were talking about before was that's 120 minutes a week, right?
Yes.
Yeah. There's been a great migration, I'd say, in the last 30, 40 years, an indoor migration. And in fact, there was a study where they talked to mothers, and I forget the percentage, let's say it was 70%, 80% of the mothers questioned, can you remember playing outside as children? And then of those same mothers, only about 30% of them said that their children played outside. That's tragic, but that's what's happened. We've had a migration indoors. And I mean, forgetting everything else, the fact that even if you live in a city where there's pollution outside, that pollution is compounded inside, because you not only have the air from the outside getting through the vents into the inside, but you have all the paints and the carpeting and all that other stuff that are off-gassing. So actually indoor pollution is much higher than that. But we're not even talking about that. That's just one other aspect of being stuck inside. And the reason that nature is so important is that that's where we come from. We are part of nature. We've somehow, humans have come to the bizarre conclusion that we're not part of nature. So we live in boxes and we drive around in machines, and we have friends now, our computers, our smartphones and all that. We interact more with machines than we do with humans or with animals or with nature itself. So we live in an artificial world, and our body's adaptation to that is what we call diseases. I would go into that in another lecture, but for now, it needs to be understood that there was another study where they, I think it was in China, and they took 60 adults, I think 30 were men, 30 were women. They put them on a 15-minute hike each, a hike in the city and a 15-minute hike in nature, and actually in a bamboo forest. And they measured everything. Their blood pressure went down, their blood sugar went down, their feeling of stress went away, their anger went away, depression improved. And this was in 1982. It's very interesting. The Japanese government, actually the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries, coined the term Shinrin-yoku, which actually means forest bathing. And in the 20 years after that, they did a lot of research, and the Japanese government has now identified 62 trails in Japan that are approved by the government as medical trails. And they actually have people that guide you on those, and they tell you when to stop and breathe around here and touch this. And one interesting place is right in the city of Tokyo. There's a district called Harajuku, and it's in a larger community called Shibuya. Anyway, next to the train station in Harajuku is the Meiji Shrine. And the Meiji is is one of the probably the grandest era, or one of the grandest eras during in Japan. But during that time, the emperor had 120,000 trees planted. Well, they've all grown now, and there are 70 acres of trees. Okay,
oh, wow.
And with 360 different species. And what they have found is that some of the scents, the odors that come from different species of trees have different effects on our immune system, on which affects in our mood and our blood pressure, the physiological results of this. So now you can actually have your medical insurance pay for going on these hikes, these specific hikes, if you have diabetes, if you have high blood pressure, if you have stress, if you just got divorced or anything like that. So that, to me, that's amazing that the government has recognized a non-medical intervention into helping people take care of medical problems and psychological problems. It's fantastic.
That's absolutely incredible, and the restorative effects of nature. We don't necessarily have to go to a forest. We can go to a park. You know, I know a lot of people right now are under certain challenges and constraints, but we were talking about this yesterday, and both of us agreed that we need to talk a little bit about earthing or grounding and just walking barefoot, just putting your bare feet in the grass, in contact with the earth. What's going to happen when we do that, Dr. Lodi?
Right. Well, and even if you can't get to the park because of lockdowns and things, if you can get just outside, I don't know, outside your house or apartment, if there's even a place where there's some soil, dirt, which we call dirt. I want to let you understand something in the English language. The earth, which is where we all come from, right? Because when you stop breathing, your body turns back into earth. In case you doubt that, what I just said. Okay, so we are earthlings. But anyway, we have such a negative affinity for nature that we have called Earth dirt. And dirt is a pejorative term. When we say you're dirty, instead of if your little boy walks in the house and he's got earth on his feet, the mother doesn't say, "Oh, fantastic, beautiful, you look so earthy." They go, "Oh, you're dirty." And if you get any dirt on you got to wash it. If you get any dirt on your food, don't eat that. We this whole madness. But by putting your feet in the earth, one of the most important things, especially in the 21st century, is that a lot of the negative effects you got from electromagnetic frequencies, EMF and Wi-Fi and all that sort of thing come out. It's like you're grounding. Just like if you have a live wire, if you ground it, it's not going to cause a problem. So it grounds us out. That's very, very important. But also connecting to nature on a psychological level is well, for example, what they studied in that study I referred to a moment ago with 30 women, 30 men going for different walks. They also found out if they didn't go for the walk, if they just looked at pictures of forests versus looking at pictures of cities, right? So you're in your home, you can't go outside, buy some plants, put them around, have pictures of, there you go, that's it, exactly. And have pictures of forests around, have mountains and things like that. At least surround yourself, because what it does, it turns out that it actually affects our brain waves. We have several kinds of brain waves. We have delta waves, which are very slow with high amplitude. And though delta waves are during deep sleep, you have to really be shaken hard to wake up, right? And then we go into theta. Theta are the kind of waves we have when we're dreaming. Okay, and then you go into alpha, where you're awake, you're a little bit alert, but your body is relaxed. And then beta is when you're up and you're like concentrating, or you're talking, or you're doing something like that. And gamma is super awake, super concentrating and studying and things like that. So what happens is most of us are in beta and gamma all day long. Now you understand those brain waves are affected, right? They thereby either turn on or turn off our parasympathetic and sympathetic, so they have a great effect on us. Well, going into a forest turns on your alpha waves, which means it turns off your beta waves. So it gets you out of stress. And alpha, remember, alpha is alert but relaxed, okay? And they say in alpha, we are more creative, we're more relaxed, we're more comfortable. When you're sitting and talking with a friend, you'll be in an alpha state. You won't be in a beta state. If you're having a debate, you'll be in beta. Now, theta is where we go to in meditation. And theta is like dreaming. And theta is where you're watching your thoughts, but you don't grab them and you don't edit them. You're not editing your thoughts. They're just happening. They're just going, right? And that's what happens in meditation. So meditation, a very important way to de-stress, just relaxation. But the number one easiest way that doesn't take any energy is getting yourself somehow, even if it's in the garden, or if worst comes to worst, in your house, immersed in nature. I mean, if you're going to be on TV, turn on those movies of Planet Earth,
right?
And just look at that kind of thing. Yeah.
The picture I wanted to show you this. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but I've got dirt underneath my fingernails because the earth. Pardon me, earth. Yeah, earth. And what you said about, I can remember as a kid, and even now, walking in, my feet are earthy or dirty, and I'm happy, and I've been playing out there, but it's get those dirty feet off the carpet, right away. Don't. And I mean, I think what you said earlier is we've disconnected from nature, and it's almost like it's a bad thing to be out there. Don't be in there. It's unnatural. It's unsanitary. And one of the things I think that's a problem with a lot of our health implications is we've become too clean.
Exactly.
Way too clean.
Well, let me bring that up for one moment. There is an understanding now in biology, and that biology includes plants and animals, and animals include insects. Anything that moves is an animal, and anything that's being stationary and photosynthesizing is a plant. Okay, so both of them are no longer considered individuals, separate entities, but they're being called now holobiont. And a holobiont is an organism and all of the microorganisms that are symbiotic with it, have a symbiotic relationship. In other words, they're using it. So we have hundreds and hundreds of trillions of organisms on our body and in our body. 90% of them are bacteria, but the other 10% are archaea, protids, I mean, all different sorts of things, eukaryotic organisms, viruses, and amoebas, and funguses. So we need them. Without them, we're dead. So we can't look at them as them. They're part of us because it's this idea of a holobiont. Now think of it. You have 44 species of microorganisms on your forearm.
Right now.
Right now. Okay. Now, the ones that are there are protecting you from the ones that would cause rashes and would cause infections and things like that. You need them because they produce different byproducts, and in our bowel too, they produce different byproducts that prevent the pathogenic bacteria from colonizing. So what does that say about washing your hands often and washing your food and doing all that thing? You know, what is this idea with cleanliness? Cleanliness is an absurdity. You want to be dirty. In fact, what we call dirty. Think about it. In health food products, there is a part of the milk of a cow that is used. What is that milk called? I can't remember the name of it, but it's the first milk that a mother produces. Anyway, it's got a lot of bacteria in it. Why do we use it from a cow? Because cows all day have their face in the dirt, in the mud, in the bacteria. They're being exposed to it. And in fact, one other thing, just as an off subject, but B12. People often think that if you're a vegetarian, you're not going to get enough B12. Well, where does B12 come from? In nature, all B12 is made by bacteria, by microorganisms. So even the cow, when you're eating the cow got it because their face is in the dirt all the time. Where are these bacteria? They're in the dirt. So when you look at India, where you've got generational vegetarians who never heard of B12, do not have B12 deficiencies because they're not so clean as we are. Okay, and I can go into it. I mean, we look at, in fact, we see less rashes, we see less atopic dermatitis, we see less autoimmune disease in children who grow up in the inner city in what we call ghettos, because they're exposed to rat droppings, they're exposed to the bacteria that's on cockroaches, etc. Than the kids who live in the middle class, upper class neighborhoods where everything is clean. They wind up getting rashes and autoimmune diseases, okay? Because it has to do, again, we were talking about stress.
Yes.
Well, you want to stress the immune system too. If you don't stress the immune system, it will be weak.
It's got to be challenged. So a great take-home message, and then just to challenge our immune system, really simple. Take my shoes off, take my socks off, and I just go stand in the dirt.
Yeah.
In the earth.
And then do that deep breathing exercise.
There we go. 1-2 combination. Yeah. What a great way to finish session 2.